Hi everyone, welcome back to David at Go To Hobbies. Right, had a question from one of my viewers regarding the transport company I'm working for now compared with the transport company I was working before. Just want to clear this up. There's only right. I only had one problem with this company, and it's not really a problem. Let me clarify that. I was going down the road and I heard tap 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 going along, and I thought, what's that? And basically I thought something's not right, so I pulled over, stopped, lifted the drive axle up, the suspension, so I could see what the tyres were like. I couldn't see anything. All I thought it was a little nail had gone in the tyre and it was rubbing on the surface as the tyre went round. Couldn't see anything, so I looked around. I thought nothing around I could see. I thought I'd pull into the yard because I was going past the yard anyway, so I thought I'll pull in and see if they can find anything wrong with it. So I pulled in, told them about it, went in the workshop. They found that the wheel nuts had come loose. Really unusual actually. Anyway, got it all sorted out. But regarding the type problem I had before on my trailer, which was I think it was the near side front axle on the what happened there was that tyre was virtually bald, um, and what was happening was that drivers weren't doing the vehicle checks. If they were doing the vehicle checks, they would have picked it up. And on the 6 weekly inspection, it would have been picked up on there. They obviously failed to do that as well. So, regarding your question, was this to the old firm I think you're referring to? Yes, it was. All virtually all my problems. Admittedly, this new company, if there's a problem, they'll deal with it. I had the aircon that didn't work properly. Um, I told them about it, come in after my first week, and they fixed it there and then, regassed it and tested it, and it's working now. I can't fault them. This is what a professional company does, compared with an old cowboy outfit what I was working for before. The problems I had with that previous company was absolutely unbelievable. Um, Curtains, right? That was one of the problems. The the state of the trailers in respect of sometimes one of the rear doors would open. It would come off. It would open itself. So one of the drivers put like a bolt through it to hold it shut. Um, One of the trailers was like leaning backwards, and I thought he's either hit a bridge or hit something, a tree or something. Oh, it just goes on and on. The internal straps were damaged or broken or missing. Um, the roof supports. I had a trailer once given to me where three roof supports were missing, and the fourth one, the bottom hook under, cut off and ground smooth. So it was virtually holding the roof was held up with one support, and that's just tires, air leaks, um, holes in the roof. Um, just goes on and on. Oh, buckles, locking what's names at the side, ratchets, straps. Straps. I mean, I probably chucked about 2, 3 away because they'd been cut through and or old. Um, Ratchets. Well, they were disgraceful actually. And this is how bad it got one day. I brought a load of recycling plastic back. I strapped it all down, and I said to him, obviously, I was taking another trailer out, and I said, I need new straps because obviously I'm going to get a load. So you'll have to unstrap what you've got on the trailer and take those straps, which I did. And I thought, well, I wonder if the driver's going to restrap that, which is a bad decision really, because they wouldn't have taken that out strapped. I know they wouldn't have strapped that. So they took a load out what I think would be unsecured. I'm not 100% sure, I can't say because I don't know, but that's my thought. And drivers not doing the vehicle checks, I don't think they did. I can't prove that. All I can say is this, that if they'd done the vehicle checks, that tyre wouldn't have been in that condition and I wouldn't have been held up, and that had a knock-on effect, because it caused me to be about 6 hours late. But it weren't just one single thing wrong. It was multiple different things. If it weren't this, it was that. If it weren't that, it was this. And it really did piss me off, to say the least. Well, I was trying, and unfortunately the boss and the office manager were totally incompetent. They got no idea what they're doing. He was as nice as pie to your face, but he was basically a shark. You know, he'd look at you and just bite your head off. And I found out that because on, I think it was, yeah, it was a Tuesday. What happened was I picked a load up from Hull. I was taking it to Chester. Right, I got to the M53 and I heard this noise, like a scraping noise. I thought, what's that? So anyway, I got off the motorway onto the A55. I pulled in the first lay-by and got out, had a look round, and I found that my near side rear drive axle mud flap or spray cover mounting bracket had come adrift from the chassis. I thought, what's caused that? So I took some photos of it, and it looks like the bolt was completely sheared off, but it didn't look like an old shear. It looked like it had been really worn. And I can't prove it. It even made me feel that as he sabotaged it. I know it's my thoughts, but I can't tell with this person what he's capable of doing. And I wouldn't put it past him, because if he can drop a driver at the side of the road in Runcorn with no money and no means to get home, he's quite capable of doing some despicable things. But to answer your question regarding was it the last company? Yeah, it was the last company. The difference is this company, they wouldn't do that sort of thing. They are professional. If there's a problem, they'll fix it. If I ask them for something, they'll get it. And the whole behaviour, the whole ethics, the whole teamwork is towards the drivers and towards the customers, and keeping the vehicles in tip-top condition. I'm driving an 18 plate DAF. It's in very good condition for its year, and when I got it, it had been valeted. And when I got my vehicle for that other company, it was an absolute shed. The floors were filthy dirty, the mats were covered in mud and dirt. It was a pigsty. I mean, I used to be a professional valeter. I used to valet vehicles for a living, right? It took me near on 6 hours to get it livable in. That means going through the cab. I first started with the beds, like the one behind me. I'd hoovered it. I hoovered that one, hoovered the mattress, hoovered underneath the mattress, all the slats and everything, down the bottom one as well. then I flea sprayed it, then I wiped all the slats up. Well, I sprayed it, flea sprayed twice, wiped all the slats over and try to remove any dirt or grime, then I flea sprayed it again. Done that, started on the panels, driving controls, floor, seats. I just run out of hours. I literally run out of hours, and I was supposed to be stopping that night and going to Aberdeen going to Lancaster service. Sorry, I going up to Lancaster to stop for the night. So I got a fair. But another thing is, right, just brief details, that he charged me. He sent me an invoice, right, for somewhere reasonably £7,000 for loss of earnings, for staying in a truck overnight, where all the other nights he allowed me to stay in it because I was working for him, right? He wouldn't pay me for driving up to Lancaster on a Sunday sometimes, right? So he wanted to have his cake and eat it. He is the most despicable, horrible person I've ever worked for in my life. And the company, right, well, you can't call it a company. It's a cowboy outfit. And the vehicles are just sheds on wheels. The state of the vehicles, the trailers are abysmal. The condition of the trailers are terrible. The units are no better. And how they keep drivers, God knows. They must be bloody fools. But there you go. This is the sort of problems I've faced. And I won't go into other details, but I've made other videos on this one this evening. So there's me basically laying in the bed behind me making a video, and you'll see that. There's not many other videos of me in bed, so, or laying on the bed rather. So hopefully that answers your question regarding the state of the vehicles and the state of the trailers, basically. So yeah, hope that answers your question. How did it make me feel as a driver? Well, I'm probably old school, and that is I try and do my best. I do care. I try and give 110%, and the reason for why it's gone like it did is because of their incompetence, the forgetfulness. I'll give you one last example, right, of what happened one day. They sent me over to Hull, so that's a 2 hour 20-minute drive at 50 mile an hour. If the sat nav says 2 hours 20, that's at 50 mile an hour, right? But it's going to be longer than that. The reason we're longer than that because you don't always do 50 mile an hour everywhere, do you? Okay, so let's say 2 hours 30, yeah, for me, for example, right? So it's 2 hours 30 to get to Hull. So out of my 10-hour driving time maximum, right, or let's say 9 hour, yeah, so I'd only have 6.5 hours left, yeah. And he wants me to drive to Aberdeen that day. So I'm driving up towards Aberdeen after pick this trailer up. I know I'm not going to be able to get there for love nor money, because I've been driving 41 years and I begin to realise what I'm doing. You would have thought so by now, wouldn't you? So I'm driving up, I get up the A1M, onto the A66 at Scotch Corner, and I cross the 66. But unfortunately at Brough, there was queuing traffic, miles and miles and miles. I'd asked him for weeks and weeks and weeks, now months, right, to get the aircon fixed in the truck. It was 40 degrees temperature that day. I was boiling in that cab, and he'd done nothing about getting that vehicle fixed. He did not care about drivers. He did not care a toss about us or me, right? And it pisses me off. And that being said, I phoned him up. I told him the situation, took a picture of the traffic, right? I said, stuck in heavy traffic, don't know what time I'm going to get through it, and I'll update you as I go along. So I got to Penrith, and it turns out the traffic lights at Penrith on the roundabout there is the traffic lights were staying on red, and it was only allowing traffic through for less 5 seconds, right? So that caused all that tailback, and then expect me to get to Scotland, right? He's off his tiny rocker, so I know I'm not going to make it. So I got the blame for not getting the load of Scotland. He's invoiced me £5,000 loss of earnings. Why? Because of his incompetence of sending me across to Hull to get the trailer. When I do get stuck in traffic, no fault of my own, and I had to do it the next day because there's not enough. I run out of drive time, right? And there's no way I could stop. Oh, sorry, no, and he wouldn't pay for services apart from the one in Aberdeen. So what I'm thinking is, right, I stopped at, I think it was Clitheroe, whatever it is. It's up just on the A90, I think it is. I stopped there, and you know what? It's just unbelievable the amount of incompetence that company and people have. Well, I say company, it's the people that are running it. So there we go, in a nutshell, how bad it really was. All the problems that he caused, right, for me to have, I think I didn't really. I might have made a little cock up now and again, but not as much as what they've done. And I hold my hand up and I admit to my cock ups if I do make them. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, and I don't pretend to be perfect. But at the end of the day, when you get that done to you, and you think to yourself, is it really that bad? Yes, it was. And now I say, hand on the heart, that's how I got treated. I'll leave you to make your own mind up and let you think about what I've said. And what would you do? Would you report him? Would you report him to Vosa or other people? There's a lot that's happening in the background. I can't tell you everything at the moment, but there we go. That's a bit more in depth about why and the wherefores. So hopefully that answers all your questions. Anyway, I'll move on. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment below, and please like, share and subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.